All right, what's going on, YouTube? This is BoxingWave. Let's talk Canelo Alvarez against Sergey Kovalev this weekend coming up. This Saturday on dazn. Okay, it's a lot of hype behind the fight because Canelo Alvarez is going up two weight divisions in order to fight Sergey Kovalev. He's currently a champion at 160, holds one of the titles there. He had three, but got stripped of two, becoming a franchise champion and not fighting his mandatory with the IBF. Okay. He doesn't hold a full title at 168, but he does hold a title at 168 by beating Rocky Fielding. Okay. Now he's fought above 160 before, a couple times. All right. He fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. above 160. I believe it was at a catchweight at 164. Okay, and he fought Rocky Fielding at 168. These two are not in, especially Rocky Fielding's definitely not in Canelo's top 10 on his resume. Okay, it was just a bigger guy winning a title at a bigger weight class, and that was that. Okay, but this fight at 175 won't be at a catchweight. He is going to be fighting Kovalev at 175. Okay, very very risky. You know, if you look in the recent years and fighters that's going up two weight divisions to fight champions, we look at the most recent fight. We had Mikey Garcia against Errol Spence, a fight that I thought was a mismatch before the fight, and it ended up being a mismatch in the fight. Okay, we know that Mikey did have a title at 140, so he did fight above 135 and was able to win a title at 140. So technically, he didn't move up two weight divisions, but still, he was a guy that was unified at 135 and fought at 135 and below the majority of his career. He's only had one fight at 140 where he won a title, and not against the best champion at 140, in my opinion. Okay, so Mikey Garcia failed against Errol Spence when he moved up. You also had Kell Brook, who moved up two weight divisions to fight Triple G. Okay, Kell Brook was undefeated at the time, just like Mikey Garcia was. Kell Brook moved up for Triple G, who was holding titles at 160, and was broken down and was stopped in that fight. Okay, it was another fight that I thought was a mismatch, and after the fight, I mean, obviously it was a mismatch. Okay, and then you also had a few years ago, you had Guillermo Rigondeaux, who fought Vasyl Lomachenko, who he had to go up two weight divisions to fight Lomachenko. Okay, he was a champion before that fight, went up to fight Loma, who was a champion at 130, I believe, and he was dominated, and and then he quit in his corner. Basically, he claimed that it was an injury, but he was getting dominated in that fight. Okay, he was getting schooled, and I thought it was a mismatch before the fight. I mean, I personally don't like when fighters jump up two weight divisions. You know, I would like to see what a fighter can do in his division before doing something that crazy. Mikey, who was he was unified. Okay, he was undefeated. He was unified. All these guys were unified. I mean, all these guys were undefeated. But Mikey, who was unified, he still didn't fight Lomachenko. You know, he did beat Mikey of Robert Easter, but he didn't beat Lomachenko. He didn't beat some of the other fighters some of the other better fighters at 135, in my opinion. Also, at 140, he didn't fight the best guy at 140 either. He didn't fight Regis Prograis or Josh Taylor or Jose Ramirez. And, I just think that those are good wins, but Mikey didn't absolutely prove himself before moving up. You know. Now, when it comes to this fight here, Canelo Alvarez, I think Canelo has a much better chance of beating Sergey Kovalev over these other three fighters I just named, over Guillermo Rigondeaux, over Mikey Garcia and Kell Brook. I think Canelo has a far better chance than these guys did. All right. I do not believe that this fight is a mismatch. Okay, going into the fight. In fact, most people believe that Canelo Alvarez is going to win this fight, and many of them believe that Canelo Alvarez is actually going to stop Sergey Kovalev at some point in this fight. Okay. Um, what I'm expecting from Kovalev in this fight, I'm expecting him to use his jab. I mean, that's his best weapon. Okay, Kovalev is a rangy fighter, not just because of the fact that Canelo is a shorter guy. No, that is Kovalev's style. That's his defense. That's his offense. That's his everything. He likes to stay out of range. Okay, he wants to land that jab, especially now that he's with Buddy McGirt. He's an older fighter. He's fighting smarter. All right, he's more defensive than he was before. And his plan is to stay out of range now that he's fighting a shorter guy with a guy that doesn't have the reach that most of his opponents do. He's definitely going to be using his range and his reach advantage and his height to stay out of distance from Canelo Alvarez. All right. So he's going to be using that jab. He's going to be constantly touching Canelo all night with that jab up top, down to the stomach area. He's going to be shooting that jab all night long. He's going to be hitting Canelo's arms with that jab. He's going to be hitting his chest with that jab. He's going to be throwing that jab, and it's a very, very powerful jab. It's one of the best jabs in boxing, and he's going to constantly throw it. Canelo's going to try to counter him with it. You know, he's going to be doing everything, but at the end of the day, Kovalev won't stop jabbing. He never stops jabbing. Okay, that's his bread and butter. All right, so Kovalev is going to be using that jab. Kovalev is going to be touching with that jab. Okay, he's not going to just be throwing power punches. The older Kovalev, all right, the Kovalev before Buddy McGirt, all right, the Kovalev that was looking to knock everyone out, the Kovalev that was in love with his power, Crusher Kovalev was always jabbing. He was always jabbing and following up the jabs with the right hands. Okay, Kovalev now today, the last two fights, we don't see much of that right hand. Okay, we see more jabbing, 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 and a little bit of the right hand here and there. Okay, when he fought Anthony Yard, okay, he was touching Anthony Yard all fight long, just winning a fight based off the jab alone. Okay, and periodically he would throw the right hand and connect with the right hand, especially later in the fight when Yard was easier to hit. Okay, same thing with the Alita Alvarez rematch, which was the fight before that. All right, where he avenged his loss, and I believe that this was the first fight he had with Buddy McGirt. Okay, he was just touching Alita Alvarez all fight long with that jab, not really throwing power shots like he was in the first fight. Okay, when I say power shots, I mean with the right hand. I don't really mean the jab. We know that his jab is a powerful jab. We saw him knock out Yard with that jab. Okay, very powerful jab. But when I'm saying as far as power shots, I'm talking about hooks, uppercuts, straight right hands, those power shots. All right. So Kovalev is going to be moving laterally. He's going to be fighting on his back foot for the majority of the fight because Canelo is going to be coming forward, even though he's the much smaller guy. Canelo is going to be the one that's going to be coming forward. All right. So I expect Kovalev to keep it very rangy, and when Canelo is on the inside and trying to do work on the inside, I expect Kovalev to tie up. Okay, lean on Canelo Alvarez, the much shorter Canelo Alvarez. All right, he does not want Canelo Alvarez to go to his body. Okay, he doesn't want that. All right, so whenever Canelo is on the inside, if Kovalev can't punch out of it and get back outside of range, he will tie up immediately, and he's great at doing that and protecting himself to the body. All right. What I'm expecting from Canelo. Now, Canelo is the more well-rounded boxer in my opinion. Okay, he has more tools. I think he can fight every kind of fight. He's fought every type of fighter. I don't think he's ever fought someone that used his jab as much as Kovalev from long distance. Okay, Triple G uses jab as much as Kovalev uses his jab, but Triple G was more in range while using that jab. Triple G had to slip a lot more and weave shots from the mid range or the close range because he was always close enough to Canelo where Canelo could hit him. Okay, he was always in range with Canelo, as opposed to Kovalev. Kovalev is not trying to be in range; he's trying to be out range. outside of that. Even when he's fighting bigger, taller, longer guys at 175, he's always trying to stay outside of range. All right. So Canelo is going to be coming forward, trying to get closer, trying to get in range to land that jab. All right. He's going to be trying to slip shots. He's going to be moving his upper body, his head. All right. We all see his defense. He moves his head well. He moves his upper body well. He slips shots very well and counters very well to the body. Okay. He can also jab extremely well, not as much. He doesn't throw it as much as Kovalev. He doesn't have the power behind it like a Kovalev, all right? But he's good at slipping shots and countering, especially to the body, all right? So Kovalev is going to be moving, shooting that jab, and Canelo is going to be slipping those jabs and countering with right hands from far out. Okay, it doesn't have to be close. He can step out. He can step in and wing that right hand. I've seen him do it all the time, right to the body. He's going to be looking to do that. Also, he's going to be slipping the right hands on the left side, stepping in, countering with left hooks to the body. Okay, so this is what Canelo is going to be trying to do in this fight. He's going to be coming in with that high guard and trying to walk Kovalev down and counter those jabs, counter those right hands, all right, and hit him with some big, powerful shots, especially to the body. He should be going to the body more, because what you don't want is the older Kovalev to be able to fight at a high rate later in the fight. You don't want him to do that. You want to slow him down so you can do more work as the fight goes on, especially because he's an older fighter. All right, so you want to kind of slow him down. All right, so that's what I'm expecting from Canelo. All right, trying to work the inside, try to outwork Kovalev. All right, so this is how I see the fight going. All right, and I listened to a lot of people talk about this fight. I mean, not like really like YouTubers, but like the Andre Wards and just like the real boxing experts. Okay. I agree with many of them. Most of them pretty much have Canelo winning this fight. Especially guys like Andre Ward, who's been in the ring with Kovalev. There's fighters that's been in the ring with both of them, or not both of them, but one or the other fighter that's given their opinion about how this fight is gonna go. Most people just see Kovalev being outworked by the younger Canelo in a later portion of this fight. Okay, a lot of people feel that because they're going back and looking at the Alida Alvarez loss. They're looking at the Andre Ward second fight, the first fight where Andre Ward kind of rallied in the second half of that fight. Even though I thought he lost the first fight, I think Andre Ward did better in the second half of that fight. A lot of people are going back to those losses and looking at those and just basing their opinion on those fights. I think what people really need to understand here is that, and I could be wrong with my pick, Buddy McGirt has made Kovalev fight a different fight. Okay. And I think people are not looking at these fights with Alida Alvarez and Anthony Yarde, the most recent fights. They're not looking at the fight and not really paying attention to what's going on. If you notice, like I said earlier in this video, Kovalev is doing a lot of touching with the jab. Okay, he is not fighting like the Crusher. Okay, if you look at Kovalev's older fights, like against Hopkins, against Pascal twice, against Ismail Shalak. If you look at Nathan Cleverly fights, all right, Kovalev was following up those jabs with his right hand constantly. He knew he had the power. He knew he could hurt his opponents, and he was connecting with that right hand and hurting guys with that jab. Okay, Kovalev is not sitting down on the jab and his right hand as much as he used to. Okay, especially early on in the fight. All right, Kovalev is just connecting, softening you up to the body, up top, all fight long, whole half of the fight, touching you with that jab. It still hurts, but it's not that same pop that it had. All right, and I don't know if people realize it, but Kovalev was able to maintain that even in the second half of his rematch with Alida Alvarez, and even in the fight with Anthony Yard. You know, Anthony Yard had him badly hurt, or he was working his body, digging into his body, um, in that eighth round. But did you see Kovalev in the ninth round, the 10th round, the 11th round? The jab was still going. It was like a bazooka. Didn't stop. Kept shooting it. Kept landing it. And at this point, Anthony Yard, who had stamina issues, you know, because he hasn't fought that many rounds in his fights. All right, this is a muscular guy. All right, he was slowing down on the second half, and a much older Kovalev had the better stamina because it's the way that he's fighting. Okay, um, he's gonna keep fighting this way. He just had a fight. He's already in shape. All right, he didn't get fat in between fights. He was already in shape, and now he's just been preparing for Canelo without having to worry about cutting down in weight. He's already there in shape. So when people say that he's going to slow down in the other half of this fight, you're talking about a different fighter, a fighter that's fighting smarter, a fighter that's more defensive. Okay? He's not trying to win by knockout in these fights. All right? This is a more experienced guy. So Canelo has to deal with this guy's jab all fight long. All night long, he has to deal with this guy's jab. And we've seen fighters jab Canelo away. All right? We've seen it. You know, Triple G against Canelo in that rematch and the first fight. Canelo slows down. Triple G took over in the second half of that rematch. Triple G took over even before the second half in the first fight. You know, Canelo had great success in both fights, especially in the second fight. I think he fought Triple G better in the second fight. I still don't think he won the fight, but I think he did much better in the second fight. I thought the second fight was a toss-up, you know. First viewing, I thought Canelo won because of the pressure, but second viewing, I just thought that Triple G landed more, and he did, you know. And that jab was nonstop, and this is a jab that's in range with Kovalev. I mean, with Canelo. Kovalev is not going to be in range when he's throwing that jab. He's not going to be in range. You know, Canelo has to not only outbox and counter Kovalev, but he has to fight to get in position to even land the shot. He has to get past the jab first just to land something. And that jab is going to be there all night long. Canelo is a guy that we've seen in several fights have stamina issues. Another guy that was in Canelo, another past opponent that had that stayed out of range was Erislandy Lara. Another fight that I thought Canelo lost. I thought Canelo lost that fight. But Lara didn't have Kovalev's jab. Lara had the left hand. So he was able to neutralize for a certain period of that fight. He was able to neutralize Canelo with that straight left hand because he was accurate with that. He didn't have the jab. He didn't have the jab to neutralize Canelo. He had a left hand. But he didn't have the volume that Kovalev would have. You know, so you got to understand that when Canelo has stamina issue, he's not as swift. You know, he's not slipping and moving his head as much. And that's going to be a problem for him in this fight. I think Canelo's best rounds are going to be in the first half of this fight. I know a lot of people are looking at age, and Kovalev's, you know, how he's going to react to the body shots. A lot of people are looking at those things. But you got to understand, Canelo is the one that's moving up here. He's going to be a bulkier Canelo. He's probably going to be a tad bit slower too. He might not be, but there's a good chance that he might be. He's probably going to be a little bit more stockier, you know. I don't know how much weight he's getting. I've seen some photos, you know, there's some videos that's been coming out. You can't really go all the way based on that because, you know, these photos could be edited. You know, you saw recently with Andy Ruiz, you know, on those photos that came out. You can easily edit these photos. I don't think he's going to be that much bulkier. Um, he looked good when he fought at 164. He looked good when he fought at 168. But those guys didn't have that jab. They didn't have that jab that Kovalev has. At the bare minimum, the jab is going to win Kovalev rounds, not even a right hand. And you know what happens when you're tired in the second half and you still have to come forward? You start getting hit with more right hands and more jabs. This is when Kovalev is going to start throwing the right hand more, the power right hand, like in the yard fight, in the second half of that fight. You guys got to go back, watch the yard fight, watch the Alida Alvarez fight, and watch some of Kovalev's older fights. Watch the Pascal fight, watch the Hopkins fight, watch the Nathan Cleverly fight. The right hand was being used a lot more often in that fight. This fight here, Kovalev is going to be working behind the jab and just trying to stay out of range, trying not to get hit, trying not to get countered. Okay, he know the counters are coming. That's what Canelo does. Canelo is great at it, and even though he is shorter and he doesn't have as long as a reach, Canelo knows how to lunge in and land shots. He's great at doing it, especially to the body. But will it be enough? I don't think so. I got Kovalev winning this fight by decision. I think he's just gonna outpoint Canelo. I know people are gonna bring up the judges' robbery. Can Canelo convincingly beat Kovalev to a point where, or can Kovalev beat Canelo convincingly enough to where the judges give it to Kovalev? I think he can. I think he can. I think he has a better chance than a Daniel Jacobs, who Kovalev is better in pound for pound. Not even talking about because he's at a higher weight division. I'm talking about Daniel Jacobs has a great jab. He could do it all. He's a well-rounded, good, solid boxer. But Kovalev is on a different level. Kovalev's jab is much better. Okay? And I think he's going to be doing a better job than Daniel Jacobs staying out of range. Because Kovalev knows his weaknesses. Daniel Jacobs is a guy that could fight in the pocket. So his goal in that fight was not to really stay out of range. There was times where he was in range because he wanted to throw some big shots, some uppercuts, some hooks, some shots to the body with Canelo. Sometimes he wanted to trade with Canelo. All right. Kovalev is not that guy. He wants to stay out of range all fight long. And Canelo has to work to get in. And this is where stamina is going to come into play. I believe that Kovalev takes over in the second half. Unlike most people. I don't think Canelo, and even if Canelo wins, and I'm wrong, I don't care about being wrong in this fight because I'm not. I guess I like Canelo a little better. I do like Canelo better, but it's not like it's not like last week where I really want to Regis Prograis to win. Even though I like Josh Taylor too, I really want to Regis Prograis. This fight, I'm not really rooting for anyone. It'd be cool, it'd be nice if Canelo is to win because that's a big win to go up and not force a catch weight on Kovalev. But I think this is too much for Canelo Alvarez. I think he bit off more than he could chew. I think it's risky. I think he's brave of doing it. It's definitely a good fight, a good challenge, but I think Kovalev is just too much. And I think Kovalev can definitely win by decision. And if Canelo is definitely gassed by the second half of this fight, he can even possibly be stopped. You never know, you know. And I think Canelo is better than Yard. I think skillfully he's better than Yard and Alida Alvarez, but he's smaller. These guys that Kovalev is used to fighting tall, bigger guys bigger than him. He's used to doing it. Canelo is too, but it's different when the weight divisions are. It's a gap in weight divisions here, And I just rather pick the really good bigger guy than the really good small guy. So I'm going with Sergey Kovalev by decision. Um, and I think it will be clear enough so where the judges could give it to Kovalev. All right. But it is Canelo Alvarez, so I won't be surprised if there's some sort of a robbery there. But you never know. I think Kovalev got it. All right, so let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, dislike the video. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.